yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, no one like, oh yeah, one like, oh yeah, no one like, oh yeah, no one. Hello, how you?
Hello. Welcome to another installment of Unveiling Africa, one beautiful face at a time. My name is Christine Decker McHarry, and I'm here today with the lovely Fila, the fashion therapist. I'm so glad and honored to have her here with me discussing her show or her blog spot where she talks about fashion therapy. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Fila, for coming.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. You know, you've always fascinated me as a wonderful, well-proper mannered girl, young lady.
Thank you.
And I've always admired your beautiful personality. So I was very much inspired and enamored when you told me you were also into fashion.
Right.
Tell me how you came about this wonderful therapeutic lifestyle of yours.
Well, I always loved dress up as a child and used to wear my mom and auntie's clothing. And when I was in my early 20s, I worked in fashion, personal shopping, I did that thing. But then, you know, you go to school and you want to get a real job. And I just wasn't as happy as I was when I worked in fashion, and I remembered how it made me feel and how therapeutic it was for me. So I figured that maybe it could do the same for others, and I just started doing it step by step.
That is wonderful. And now, how do you go about doing fashion therapy or preparing others by your fashion therapy?
Well, I consult. So there are a lot of women who want to portray a certain image but don't know which fashions to wear and to use to do that. So I consult with them and help them figure out what their style is and what their fashion sense is. I do personal styling, personal shopping, just to help women feel better about themselves. It's not about the size, it's not about the weight or anything like that. It's just about wearing what looks best on you and what makes you feel good.
That's true. Tell me, how do I look? Am I overdone?
You look gorgeous. I love it.
I love it.
Very ethnic, beautiful.
Thank you. If the fashion therapist says so, I guess I am. Anyway, after all is said and done, what really matters at the end of the day?
I think the most important thing is loving who you are at any size, any color, whatever you're doing. You always want to be proud of who you are, and you want to feel good about that, and you want to express that to others. And that's what I really try to get across to women, is that it's most important how you feel, and once you feel good, everything else will project from the inside out.
How true. How very true. I'm so proud of you, Fila.
Thank you.
Now, since we're talking about Unveiling Africa as a show, I wanted to find out your roots, obviously, are from the motherland of Africa. And so I wanted to find out, what do you think of the depiction of Africa or Africans in the media today? It's a loaded question, but you can tackle it the way you feel.
No, I'm comfortable with it. I think it's a question that needs to be asked in every aspect of our careers and of our lives. I don't think that the media represents African or African American women in the most positive light, and so I myself am an African American woman, and when I see images of myself, I don't particularly like them, and so I know that other women have to feel that also, and part of this is bringing women together to help each other and encourage each other, and to see that there are other positive role models that they can look up to.
Very true.
And that they can be for younger girls coming up behind them.
And in fact, that's one of the reasons why I created Unveiling Africa, one beautiful face at a time. I could have done it in a book. I could have done it maybe just talking one-on-one to people. Right. But I thought putting it out there in the media would go further, would carry more weight than doing it on a less public of
it's more powerful when you can see it.
Yes. And like you said, I've always thought that, you know, Africa and the Africans, and even like you said, the African Americans, have never really been portrayed positively. So I want to portray a vision that will leave a vision in the minds of others that we are beautiful people too, you know, in both inside and out. So with that in mind, do you feel inspired or proud that you have roots from the motherland, that you have roots
by
in
all
Africa?
means. By all means, I do. And I want other women to feel as proud as I am. I often get mistaken for being of other ethnicities.
Yeah.
And, you know, I think that we all should be proud of each other.
Right.
And so I understand the confusion, but I'm always very quick and proud to say who I really am.
Yes.
Yeah, I
True.
definitely, and I draw inspiration from African fashions, and
I
just
going to be my
love
next
it.
question. That was going to be my next question. Where I was told the general public that one of my goals is to further showcase our fashion, you know, our food, our good customs, and that will lead to inspirational pieces for other people. So I'm really very pleased that you mentioned that, and that was one of my questions. You know, like, how has African fashion influenced your vision of fashion or design, or what you see on other women? How's that specifically touched you?
I think that when I see African women and African fashions, there's just a power behind the colors and the patterns. Like what you're wearing today is just very bold, it's very strong, but it's at the same time very calming and very soothing.
Wow.
And there's something really, really powerful about that, and I think that you can draw from that and use it in your real life. You know, when you wear clothing that makes you feel strong, you walk strong, you talk strong, and I think it can just enhance every aspect of life.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah.
Because I remember when I was growing up, my mother would say, stand up straight, walk like a lady, be graceful. And, you know, when we dress up in such a certain way, then we come out walking tall, proud, graceful, lanky looking ladies, you know. And you're absolutely right that African culture, African design and fashion really brings out, you know, this beauty, you know, more in the person. And one of my guests actually said, put it this way, she said, it looks like the pieces are made especially for you.
I totally agree, totally agree.
Okay. Now, have you had any opportunity to interact with other African women, you know, women from the continent? I know we're all from the continent.
Definitely.
And how was the interaction? Did you come away disappointed or fulfilled, empowered, inspired, or maybe a little disappointed? What happened?
I don't think I've ever had any direct disappointment. I come from a family of strong women, and there are a lot of women, so we always had close ties to our historic backgrounds.
Wow.
And I think when I meet women who are directly from Africa, it sort of ties into that, and I'm always very fascinated to know about their customs and their cultures and where they're from and how they grew up. It gives me a certain strength and makes me feel a certain sisterhood.
Wow.
I've never had a negative experience, ever.
I'm pleased to hear that. That's really nice. Since you're so interested, or you look forward to learning the customs and I guess the foods, have you ever tried any of the foods?
I've tried things, not specifically that I can remember, but I've tried certain foods. I'm open, so I'm not a person who's closed-minded about anything. The foods that I have had, I've had like a spicy fish before. I think like a rice and spinach dish. It was always very good.
Spicy.
Yeah.
Did you find it too spicy for you?
A little on the spicy side for me. Good, but a little too spicy. Yeah.
You couldn't do that every day.
No, not every day.
I could do that every day.
Oh, my stomach's not built for that.
That's true. Also, did you what part of the customs, do you know of any customs that you particularly want to know more about, and why?
Not any particularly. I'm extremely fascinated as a whole, and I think it just makes me sort of nostalgic, you know, because African Americans don't have the culture that African women do, and I just kind of draw on that. So I'm interested in every aspect. I want to know about everything, and I'm always asking questions about what's going on.
Ask me one question that you're particularly curious to know more about.
Well, I recently had a conversation about the African family.
Okay.
And I was told that when women marry into the family, that they sort of become indentured servants to their husband's family. That one I was a bit curious about.
No,
I wondered if that was like a countrywide thing or...
No, I wouldn't say particularly they become indentured servants.
Mm-hmm.
They become, well, we say in Africa when you marry, a woman marries into another family, you marry to the whole family.
Okay.
But not particularly in the sense that you're subservient to them, but that you now embrace them as part of your own family,
Mm-hmm.
like your, your direct family.
Okay.
But here you find out outside of Africa, when there's a marriage, it's like between the two people involved. So in Africa it's different because we get married, I get married to your whole family, or to the man's whole family, and it makes it difficult to walk away from that kind of situation, because when you decide to say, oh, you give me a hard time, I can't deal with this anymore, I'm out of here.
You got to deal with
then
everybody.
You have to deal with you have to deal with the aunties, the auntie-in-law,
Right.
the brother-in-laws, the sister-in-laws, the sisters, the brothers, the nieces, the nephews, because everyone becomes your family, your a piece of the family. So in that sense, I don't see it as being an indentured servant or in that sense, but I see it as being that all embracing now. So it's that's why it's so much harder to have marriages break up in divorce in Africa. From time these days we're beginning to get the Western,
Seeping
still,
in
but still have to answer to the in-laws.
Right.
Like, what are you doing? Do you understand what this means? We all came to eat at your wine carrying. That's what I call the African, the native wedding ceremony. It's wine carrying. That means the in-laws brought all this wine, all this food, all this materials, clothes, suitcases loaded with jewelry, coral, all beautiful things for the new bride. And then you want to leave us like that? Sometimes they say, we love you, and if our brother doesn't love you, so you say, well, I can't leave this family now. It's just like, you always have someone who makes you mad in your family.
Of
but
course.
You can't discard them.
You're still family.
Yeah, you're still family. So that's one of the good customs of an African family, the way they try to keep family together.
Right.
Family is big. It's interesting, I was looking at the show today, what's that, Family Feud? And one of the questions on that was so funny. It was, how do you think Americans rate family on a scale of 1 to 10? Did you know the most popular number was 5?
Wow.
But if you took that survey back in Africa, guess what?
It would be number 1.
It'll be, well, if with 10 being the highest.
10 is the highest? Oh, okay,
10.
so it would be 10.
Yeah. So, that's the relationship we talk about. Yeah. And the other aspects of our customs too, that like when you marry into the family too, you always embrace your in-laws, even if they come at an opportune time. You're still expected. I think that's where the
maybe
thing
I
comes.
think that's where I get it from.
You're still expected to
be a certain way.
Yeah, to dress. To welcome them with food and with a conversation, lively conversation, even if you're not feeling up to it. Otherwise they feel insulted, like you're not welcoming them, and you don't want them around. So that might be the way they're looking at it.
Okay, I never thought about it that way, but that puts it in a whole new perspective for me.
I'm glad we got something positive out of that. Africa is made up of 47 nations and 6 islands. So I always ask my guests, such a big, diverse, vast continent. Do you know the countries in Africa? Have you ever thought of going to any parts of Africa?